There's a lot of good, a lot of positives. You know, I told the team in the locker room afterwards, you know, my first thoughts, feelings about the game is we're super proud of them. You know, we had an offensive goal, a defensive goal, and a special teams goal to really pare it down for that game. And then on top of that, we talked about just establishing, again, our identity, taking steps forward with that, about tough. And I really believe that we took a step forward with that. You know, from start to finish, our guys played incredibly hard, you know, and with a toughness. And you're down 17-0, you know, down there against LSU, and to come back 14-17, to be down again, and for the defense to force the first turnover that LSU has committed this year, and for the offense to knock it in, to go for two with Coach DeBoer's creative play, to bring it within one possession. You know, it's 22-30, you know, later in the game. You know, and kicking an onside kick. I mean, just the toughness of our guys was great. And then we didn't necessarily accomplish the special teams, the offense and the defensive goal perfectly, but we were close. I mean, we took steps forward with that as well. And so, you know, there are always positives, and then there are always things when you watch the film, you think some things probably went well, and they may not have gone quite as well as you'd hoped, and vice versa. So overall, I'm proud of our guys, and you know, it's about continuing to get better and building foundational things that won't be easily moved. And as we head into conference play now, we had Ball State earlier. And I didn't mind playing that early game at all. You know, wish we had a different result being up 17, but feels as though it's a new season now, a new slate. And I'll tell you what I told the team last night is that we absolutely can win every single game that we'll be playing for the rest of the season. And I think our guys believe that and know that. And then I also said we can lose every single game that we're playing this season, and that's the state that we're in, and that's not a bad thing. You know, is that we have to be on top of our game. We've got to be mentally, physically, and emotionally ready and into every Saturday afternoon, and all the preparation that it takes to get into that moment. Because when we're on, you know, we're formidable. But if we're lackluster in any way, if we're not on the top of our game, if we think that we can just show up and play and be successful, you know, we'll be very disappointed. So that's where I think that we're at right now. And I'll tell you this, we're super excited about getting this slate going.
Coach, what does Saturday's game do for the program moving forward? Does it maybe show the rest of the country, including the conference, that Eastern Michigan's demanding more respect now that we can play with an LSU, and we'll definitely play with you guys?
I don't know. To me, it's probably more of a week-to-week, you know, scenario with that, and maybe there is an accumulation. I think if you look at our body of work, you know, we've been in every game, but we've also come up short. You know, so we have plenty of work to do. When we look at just the comparison between this year and last year, and it's still pretty early in the season, we think that we're better. We think that we're better in nearly every area. But I think our respect is going to be earned, you know, each week when we face the opponent.
Did the team lose any energy or confidence after the LSU built that lead back up to 20? Did they lose any confidence, or did they say, like, yeah, we played with LSU, so here we are?
Yeah, no, I don't think we lost any confidence. You know, we didn't finish the game the way that we would have liked. I mean, so I don't want this to be misconstrued at all. There, in the locker room afterwards, it was disappointment, you know, because you know, our guys, you know, were playing, you know, and you know, we had, again, chances late to really do something special, and so the locker room was disappointment. I tried to address the team, though, in saying, look, it's not just the result-oriented scenario. There's a bigger picture, and we took steps, you know, forward. So there were positives to take out of the game, but yeah, no, our guys were. You don't get opportunities like that very often, and we're right in it, and it didn't happen, and so they were disappointed. Confidence, though, I really don't believe that the confidence was shaken at all.
And how do you translate that confidence going into next week, this Saturday?
Well, the confidence, still has not, equated to finishing out games and playing at our high level consistently all the way through. So, I really believe that our guys aren't, back in their dorms and their apartments or sitting together at lunch and whatnot, doubting whether we're going to be successful or whether we can be good. But at the same time, we have not been at our best all three phases, and our whole team and the practice preparation. They know and believe that we're getting closer and that we can. There's confidence in that. But we're still a team that's, backed into a corner right now, and still needing to fight for respect. And so I think that's more where we're at.
Okay, Coach. Grady, that you didn't see the field on Saturday, is it an injury or what's
Yes.
the status
Yep.
going forward?
Yeah, it's not a long-term injury, but he was out with injury.
Do you expect him to be back Saturday?
Hope so. We'll hear from our trainer this afternoon. It was a day-to-day deal. I think in an emergency, we probably could have played him. So we are expecting for him to be back, but, we'll hear from here this afternoon.
And then any update on Jeremiah Harris as well?
Yeah, Jeremiah, it's going to be a 6-week, not from now, but from when it happened. It's 6 weeks, and so now at that point they'll revisit it and look at it. But that was the window that we got was 6 weeks, so he won't be with us this week.
And then at the start of the game, it seemed like stadium noise was really affecting Brogan. You guys had to use early timeouts. How did he get back into the rhythm and seem to pull together?
Well, yeah, I can see you thinking that really it was a headset malfunction is why we had to call the timeout. I mean, why Coach DeBoer didn't just yell outside the window to us, I don't know why. But, yeah, so it was a headset malfunction on that. I think that our guys really handled the noise and the circumstances extremely well, and credit to both of these guys and the communication systems that they've been working on for a long time. So we did call the timeout, but it was because we weren't able to hear each other.
And then Brogan, he had a really great game, but he had those interceptions late. How did he deal with just inconsistency almost of his play?
Well, I mean, I think that, again, Coach DeBoer, really summarized it well, and that, he's a competitor, and really believes in his ability to make plays and his arm and whatnot, and that's a double-edged sword. It really is. You want a guy who believes and is competitive, but then you have to temper that, with not forcing things and knowing when it's okay, to take a bit of a chance and when you can't. And so, I think the majority of his interceptions have happened later in games and when we've been down. And they're still costly, So, I mean, his completion percentage was over 70%, really played well, was unfazed, and whatnot. But I think that, forcing some of those balls at the end were balls that, of course, he'd like to have back.
And then just tight end play. I mean, Sam Browning had a phenomenal game, and then Cody Tuttle once again had a really good game. How much does that help the offense moving forward?
It helps a ton, and again, I just think that the creativity of our offensive staff and knowing our personnel and how they're using those guys, with their strengths, has been really, really good throughout. And both those guys are new to the program, with Cole moving over to tackle. So I think some of the personnel moves and decisions that our offensive staff has made has really proved fruitful.
Coach DeBoer, okay, first things first. Pull up that 2-point conversion play.
We've had it in for a few weeks, and you don't just want to run it just to run it. You got to kind of wait for the right time, because he doesn't like you got 15 or 20 of those in your bag. But you know, we had some momentum, and it was a chance to pull within one, really a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and you know, so we just felt like it was the right time to run it. We've been working on it for, you know, 3 or 4 weeks, I think since Wyoming.
Piggybacking off the tight ends, talk about Sam Browning and then just his importance to the offense with tight ends. I think it was 11 of Robeck's 17 completions were to him and Cody Tells.
Right.
Talk about that.
Yeah, you know, those guys just coming in. You know, Cody got here in the summer, midsummer, and then Sam didn't get here till right when fall camp started. And so it's been a work in progress, you know, just getting those guys familiar. The tight end position is so unique because really you got to know them about as much as the quarterback. You got to know the pass routes. You got to know the run blocking schemes. You got to know the protections. You're very involved with motions. If we're ever shifting, usually it's a tight end that's involved. And so there's a lot to know. It's probably one of the positions that takes the most, you know, just understanding of the entire offense. So it's been a work in progress. I think more and more you see both of them on the field, you know, a few more snaps each game. And I think it's a great thing for us. They're both, you know, more of a pass receiving type, but they're still really working on their blocking as an inline player. And I think we really took a big step forward. Maybe they weren't with their hand down on the ground, but they were on the, you know, the backside of zone plays a lot this last week, blocking, you know, some pretty good defensive ends. So, and we had a lot of success with it. So they're really coming along, both of them, and you can see what they do when they get the ball in their hands. They understand space. They're getting a better understanding of the timing and just the cohesiveness with them. And right now, Brogan, it's been really good. It's been a huge positive for us.
Akron, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they've been pretty tough defense the
Right.
last couple of years. Just what challenges do you see coming from them this Saturday?
Yeah, you know, they're very stout. You know, the thing that jumps out at you is that people aren't really running the ball on them consistently. You know, I think Oklahoma's had the most yards, and it was you know, 400 yards passing. They kind of hit an 80-yarder pass and a couple other big explosives. But you know, just running the ball consistently against Akron's been tough. They got some good size. I know they got some transfers over the last year or two that have come in from different BCS schools and really give them a solid you know, box. And you know, some teams you know, like this last weekend, Holden, Ohio, who I would consider to, you know, feel like they're a running team, you know, a team that feels physical. To hold them to what they did rushing is impressive. So we got to have good balance. We believe in our run game, and you know, just how we do it, and you know, I think is a little different than maybe what they've seen. And so you know, we just got to continue to have that balance between run and pass.
Coach McCaslin, teammates unable to go. How difficult does that make your play calling with such a good player being out on the defense?
You know, it doesn't affect the play calling as much. You know, Nate Adams came in and did a really good job. You know, he knows the assignment. He's not a new player to the system. He knows what he's doing. He's played both his position and Zappone's position, and so he made some good plays in the game, some good aggressive plays. You know, what it does is it takes off you know, a person who thoroughly knows our defense off of the field. You know, from a communication standpoint. You know, we got roles for those two inside linebackers, and eBay is arguably the best at you know, making sure that we're, you know, seeing the formation as it should be seen, aligning the formation as we should align, and communicating any adjustment that is necessary due to, you know, formation or motion. So that's the greatest impact right there.
Larry Fournette still had a rather good game, but it looked like the defense was tackling very well. What were your impressions of the performance?
Yeah, the tackling was improved. You know, we still have not met our goal of tackling yet in a game. We have a goal in terms of missed tackles. You got to look at it from the negative perspective in that regard, and so we've got to do a better job of tackling. You know, but we did get multiple people to the point of attack, which was an objective of that game, and you know, and our guys did a great job starting on Tuesday with additional effort and getting people there. So the stat line was that there were 50 assisted tackles in the course of that game, which just means that, you know, more than one guy at the point of attack. We'd like to get, or if there was 2, we want to get 3 now. If there was 3, we want to get 4. We definitely want to outdo ourselves in that category. So, and Fournette, he had a great run to open up the second half. And, and that's, if you let him get his speed and get on the edge, he's going to make a play. And we just had a misalignment right there that I think that, we had stopped the play before, in previous situations. So had we, been aligned properly, we could have potentially gotten that one off the board.
Defensive backs had a lot of one-on-one with the wide receivers, and they only completed 4 passes. Can you just talk about their performance as a whole?
Yeah, so one of the completions was was me backing down from man coverage, and just long third down. We went into a kind of a Tampa 2 coverage, and so that's on me. And they had a long completion. It was their only third down conversion that they had. And then right after that, Coach Frakes and Coach Bullocks were like, "Our guys are confident. Just keep them in the man situations, let them play," and we did from there on out. And so I know they had a drop or 2 as well, which there's a lot of things that go into play with that. If you've gotten to the quarterback a couple of times, that's going to affect how well he stands in there and throws the ball and whatnot. And so there were some team aspects that went into play in those situations.
Looking forward to Akron. Nothing stands out in the stat sheet or scoreboard, but just looking at the film, what do you think stands out from them offensively?
They're a little bit more of a balanced offense than what we obviously faced in Army and LSU in terms of being a very heavy run committed offenses, those 2 teams. So they have the capability to run the football. Number 4, Hundley, is a good running back that will make you pay. If they spread you out with 4 wide formations and you don't do a good job with your gap control, then he can make you pay. With good downhill physical run. Quarterbacks have been a little bit of a rotation. So don't know exactly what we'll see or why that's been that way, because they all 3 have performed well, and they've got some good receivers. They're a good 3-step, quick game offense, and they've got receivers that catch the ball well and can do some things after the catch.
Coach, you kind of hit on Akron. They have that QB rotation. How difficult is it to prepare for a team knowing they've got a possibility of running 3 different guys in there at some point?
Well, we've seen all 3 on the film, and Coach and I just had this conversation, this morning. Part of it is you try to figure out who the guy's going to be, and part of it you have to be ready for all 3. I don't know if we figured out yet how much things change or not, when the different quarterbacks are in. But those are that we really are diving into it and getting all the analysis and all the statistics. That's one of the pieces that we'll be looking at.
You look at your offense, and you mentioned the creativity on offense. Of your 20 touchdowns, 11 have come in less than 2 minutes. I mean, you looked at outpaces some schools like Oregon and Texas Tech that are known for fast-paced offense. But it's also nice to know you can have those lengthy drive, time-consuming ones that we also saw at LSU, right?
No question. I think part of the outstanding job that that our staff, our offensive and defensive staff did. As we talked about this prior to the game, and a lot of it falls on Coach DeBoer's shoulders, but is to try to control the tempo. And I think we had the ball just short of 18 minutes in the first half, and that was by design. A little bit more even in the second half. We still won time of possession for the game. But I think Coach DeBoer says it really well. It's not necessarily just going fast, and definitely not going fast all the time. The rhythm is what our offense feeds off of. And so what we were able to do is to control some of the clock and not go fast all the time, but still try to maintain some rhythm. And so I think he did a really good job. I think we calculated that what the clock was running maybe 47 times, and it was about 11 minutes that we calculated that we were able to shorten the game. But we do have, quick strike ability and need to be able to do that. We will continue to be that kind of offense, but just really proud of the game plan was executed well in that way on Saturday.
And then lastly, of course, it's homecoming. I mean, it always has this everything that surrounds it and kind of the festivities, I mean, it has to be an exciting time to come back home to this.
It absolutely is. I think that I read that there's over 60 activities during homecoming week, and we know we got the big pep rally on Friday night. It was a blast last year. Our team really enjoyed that, and it was a great crowd last year. It was a phenomenal day for our program. Just really played well, and a big win over Buffalo. And so homecoming is about coming back to your alma mater, and seeing friends and classmates, teammates, and whatnot. And Eastern Michigan does it right, and it's going to be a great day on Saturday. And again, we've been the farthest thing from perfect as a program, but I think folks that have studied us and hung with us and whatnot see that we're improving. And I hope that that Eagle Nation, the EMU faithful, will come back and support us and be here and see what we can do, especially these last 7 games. Thank you.